What's up, gaming heroes, and welcome back to another awesome World of Warcraft video. Dragonflight is here, and to date, it is the best expansion for leveling and all of the current content we've done so far. This expansion is absolutely incredible. It had a slightly rocky start with the launch, but overall, this is an amazing expansion, and I'm personally absolutely loving it. In this video, we're going to go over all of the ways that you can gear up in Dragonflight. Loads of people are a bit overwhelmed with all the different things that you can do at level 70. I'm here to make it super simple and super easy. Before we get into the video, I just want to give a quick shout out to my Patreon, where we actually have a written version of this video in a guide format. So if you find the videos a little bit too quick for you, feel free to support me on Patreon and get access to that awesome guide over on erosiumtv.com, my personal website, which I basically update with the most useful Dragonflight guides, such as goal making guides, TSM groups, gathering guides, gathering routes. Everything to do with Dragonflight is going to be over on erosiumtv.com for any of my patrons who support me over there. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So when you hit level 70, there are a metric buttload of ways that you can gear up. And I do just want to quickly say that with the way that World of Warcraft works is as the expansion goes on and on, they add catch-up mechanics. So some of the basically systems in this video that I discuss might be updated in a future point. If they are, then I'll make an updated version of this video to help you guys out a little bit further. But for now, let's get into the ways that you can gear up at level 70. First is first, obviously you're going to go and get your character to level 70. This is absolutely major. Dragonflight has one of the best leveling systems to go from level 60 to 70. It is an absolute blast. You can just blast through campaign quests. You can blast through side quests, you can do dungeons, you can do whatever it is that you want, and it's really fun and interesting. So don't rush it, take your time and enjoy actually getting to level 70. You can only do it once for the first time. After that, you've already done it, you know all the story, you can blast in the future. Enjoy it the first time through. I'm not gonna lie, professions in Dragonflight are so important in comparison to previous expansions where they just didn't really matter very much whatsoever. The gear that in previous expansions we pretty much just bought from the auction house for any alts, but in this expansion, Dragonflight, professions really matter. You can craft yourself item level 343 from your crafting professions. I highly suggest choosing a profession that is relevant to your armor type if you are going to go down that route, i.e. if you're a warrior and use plate, take blacksmithing. If you use leather, take leatherworking. If you are a cloth user, take tailoring, etc, etc. Now, say you want to take one of those more consumable based professions, that's not a problem whatsoever. You can still get access to this awesome gear. It's really cool how Blizzard have integrated this brand new system called crafting orders. Crafting orders are effectively a little bit like going to the auction house and saying, right, I've got these materials. I would like to give you these materials in order for you, Mr. Tailor out there or blacksmither out there, I'd like you to craft me this piece of gear and I'll give you like a, 100 gold tip as a thank you. Then you'll get crafters who will go and check for these crafting orders and they'll see that there's a crafting order for a specific gear type. They'll take the materials that you've basically given the auction house crafting order station and they will craft that piece of gear for you. Then you'll be sent that piece of gear and they'll deduct that gold from you. Now, this is a brilliant way for people who don't care about professions to still get profession gear. I'm not going to lie, I'm doing loads and loads of professions right now, but I still use the crafting orders because some of my professions don't cover the gear that I actually need, such as blacksmithing. I don't have time to level blacksmithing right this second, so I've used crafting orders to get all the gear that I personally need. Now, it's worth bearing in mind that you can also upgrade this crafted gear using Sparks of Ingenuity. You can get 1 Spark of Ingenuity every week by completing the tier quest line. You must first unlock the Engine of Ingenuity, which will give you access to getting a Spark of Ingenuity every single week. You can then take this Spark of Ingenuity and use it in crafting, or you can use it in a crafting order to get the piece of gear that you want. This upgrades the item level piece of that gear, so you get an even higher level piece of equipment. Make sure you do this once every week to get this. I predict this Spark of Ingenuity questline will potentially be updated in the future so that it's not weekly, but for now it is weekly. Moving on, we've got World Quest. World Quest is a really interesting one, actually, because the World Quest gear that you can potentially farm actually scales with your item level. So say you are now like item level 360, the item level that you get from World Quests will also be 360. How cool is that? So make sure you're checking every single day for those World Quests to make sure you're getting your best piece of equipment possible. The highest item level I've personally seen on my warrior is item level 363, but I know this is going to go up even more as the expansion continues to progress and I get even better gear on my warrior. Right, so now we've hit level 70 and you're probably thinking in your head, right, I'm going to go spam some dungeons to get myself some gear. Item level 346 is the item level that you can expect to get from dungeons. Make sure that you pick up your dungeon quests before you actually go into the dungeons, and that way you actually will get item level 346 from the actual dungeon quests as well. That will really help you just in general. You will also get quite a lot of crafting materials from doing these dungeons, which you can therefore use in crafting orders or your crafted professions to get you yourself even more gear. So on a whole, you're massively being rewarded for constantly doing things like dungeons, heroic or mythic versions of the dungeons. You'll get higher level crafting materials as a result of that. You can expect to get item level 359 gear from heroic dungeons, and you will also get a level 3 Titan training matrix, which is the crafted material that I was mentioning. From mythic dungeons, you'll get item level 372, but it is worth noting you cannot trade this gear at the time of recording this video. You can't trade the mythic 0 gear at all, so it's worth bearing that in mind, that you will need to do this ideally with friends or save yourself the time. Don't do it with randoms who will potentially leave you in the lurch, as it's always difficult to get into a new group, right? You will also get level 4 Titan training matrix from doing mythic zeros, so make sure that you do that. This will basically upgrade your crafted gear to item level 372 all the way up to 382, depending on the quality of the piece of gear that is being crafted. Now, personal favorite coming up soon, so stay in your seats. PvP gearing. Now, PvP gearing on a whole doesn't seem that good from my perspective, but I do want to talk about it nevertheless. Battleground gearing is possible, but it is currently unrated gear, so therefore it is only item level 340. 340 isn't the highest, but it is still gear nevertheless, and it can be upgraded the second the season actually starts. This means that if you get yourself a full load of PvP gear the second the season starts, and you get yourself some rated, and you get yourself some rating, you can immediately upgrade all that gear using your honor to actually upgrade it to the level that you wish. Now, the reason I was saying keep in your seat for this is because if you were to go to Ogrimmar or Stormwind and turn yourself war mode on and then go and slay the opposing faction in Dragonflight, you would be given something called bloody coins. Bloody coins can therefore be exchanged with PvP vendors in order to get yourself some awesome item level 366 gear. Now, my guild in particular are actually running groups right now to farm Horde in order to get bloody purses. There are also one other way which is really good to get bloody purses, and that is actually completing PvP war mode on world quests. These reward you with around 200 bloody coins, which can be used to buy basically one piece of gear from that vendor. Highly suggest doing this, guys. Well worth your time. Item level 366 is absolutely incredible and well worth it in the first 2 weeks of the expansion. After that, when the season started, you can probably just hop into Mythic Plus and blast through some like high level mythics to get your gear. But now we're in the first 2 weeks of the expansion. We're just trying to get the first load of gear that we can. They're the main ways of getting gear in Dragonflight, but I'm not going to stop there because I want to talk about 2 more places that I think are great because I've actually done it myself and it works really well for me. Siege of Dragonbane's Keep. The Siege of Dragonbane's Keep is over in the Waking Shores. This is a timed event that you can see on the map. Just look for the big dragon horn and it will be really abundantly obvious exactly where I'm talking about. And you basically go over there and you just kill mobs and follow whatever objective it tells you to complete. This will eventually reward you with a chest, and the chest will reward you with an awesome piece of equipment that is scaling to your rough item level. So the higher you do this, the better gear you will get. Make sure you do this once every single week in order to get yourself that chest, which will give you an awesome piece of gear. Moving on, the last piece of equipment would be the Cobalt Assembly Reputation Grind. I've done this. It took me 2.5 to 3 hours of just hardcore grinding to get myself that item level 389 ring. Simply open up your looking for group, just press I basically, and then look for custom groups. Any group that says Cobalt Rep Grind, join that group and just grind reputation for like 2 or 3 hours until it reaches high, and then you can buy a awesome ring, which is item level 389 from the vendor. It's worth noting 2 things. You need to complete the quest beforehand. This takes roughly about 30 seconds. Just go to the Cobalt Assembly, you'll see the quest, pick it up, complete it, and that will unlock the ability to get the reputation items. Now, Cobalt Assembly is effectively Torghast, but outside. You don't need to go through any portal to get in there. It's just effectively Torghast in open ground to get unique abilities that empower your character. Now, when you kill these mobs with your groups, they are elite mobs, they are hard to kill, so you want to be in a group when you do this. When you do kill these mobs and they drop the items will not go into your bags. They will automatically be converted into reputation. So it will say in the chat, you've gained reputation with the Cobalt Assembly. It won't, for example, say the specific amount, and it won't specifically put the item into your bag. So do not fret. This confuses a lot of people. So that's why I'm explaining that in general. So there we have it. There are my tips on how to gear up in Dragonflight in the first 2 weeks of the expansion. I'm going to update this video as there's new ways that continue to come out for gearing up. I just really wanted to get some information out there as my guildies, you know, they're struggling to gear up. Loads of people are struggling to gear up. There's so many things in Dragonflight that are just brand new, and we need to just get to grips immediately with all the awesome systems. Okay, so I really hope this video helped you. If you want to see the written version of this video, then go over to my Patreon. Support me on Patreon. You get access to erosiumtv.com, which has all of my guides on there, and I will show you just a quick example of what this guide roughly looks like. You can see right here that it's a level 70 gear guide for Dragonflight, and you can literally just go straight through it. It gives you all the information you got in this video, but a little bit more, and it breaks it down in a really simple and easy way to understand, and that will hopefully help you gear yourself all the way up to level 70, ready to raid. I really hope that you like this video. If you do, smash that like button and click subscribe. I've got a ton of TSM groups, gold making guides coming to my website, so stick around, and I will be also putting them on YouTube as well for anyone that can't support on Patreon. Much love to you all. This is Erosium out, and I'll see you next time.